cast members that were volunteers or ladies auxiliary here. See it says captain? See it says captain? But if you look on the board, it said first captain. And she was seeing the William McGinnis underneath it. But that's what she kept saying. And nobody else says first. That's the only thing that says first captain.
So she was specifically saying first captain.
Yeah, she kept saying first captain. Yeah, that's what rang in our bell. And then we came downstairs and we saw that.
Which she wouldn't know, like, that there's a such thing as a first or.
I don't think she knew the board was here. Because these are always covered. They don't. This is only opened up when the volunteers are having their functions. Usually on Memorial Day, they open it up.
First, I'd like to thank you all for doing this. It means so much to me. Obviously, you know that you are a huge part of my life. Actually, you're my family, and I wouldn't have done this without you. So this is part of my journey, and this is Michael Anthony, and he is the producer and in charge of everything, so I'll give him the floor for a minute.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, how are you? Again, thank you so much for letting us do this. I know how personal, obviously, this is, what we're going to be talking about tonight. I just wanted to quickly tell you how this started for me. That's my sister over there, Jen, and my brother-in-law, Toma. Our dad passed about 4.5 years ago. A sudden, shocking event. My dad was in great shape. He was healthy, and he died suddenly. And I was in this horrible hole, this dark place that I know everyone here is aware of. And we had this experience with this woman who claimed that she could speak to people who have crossed over. And I am a guy who is skeptical by nature. I'm open-minded, but skeptical. I was gonna, I have a little bit of I was gonna be a science teacher. I love science. I believe in science and the scientific method. And this woman was coming to our house, and I thought, well, I'm gonna test this person who claims that they can talk to dead people. And I was standing in my dad's house. We live in Guilford, Connecticut, and he lives in this back lot in the middle of the woods. And I was totally by myself, and I said, Dad, if you're really there tonight, I want you to mention my hair. And I said that because there's nothing remarkable about my hair. There's nothing, though it's fantastic, there's nothing about it. There's nothing about it that would stand out. But when I was a little kid, I would beg my dad at night to play with my hair, and he would do it for hours to help me fall asleep at night. So it was this very personal thing that there's no way anyone would ever know. I said that to no one. I didn't even tell my sister or my mom. I said it to no one. This woman came to our house. She didn't know who was going to be there. She only knew my sister's first name and where we were meeting, and that was it. She did this reading in my mom's living room. There were about 7 people there. Lasted for 2 hours. I was immediately blown away by the stuff she was saying, and I was like looking up on the walls to see if we had put like pictures up that she was getting this information from, and we hadn't. And then at the end, she said, we're wrapping up to leave, and as she's walking out the door, she says, he wants to talk about your hair. And I was like, oh my God. And in that instant, my scientific brain was reeling. And I came to find out that this woman has actually been studied by scientists at the University of Arizona and the University of Virginia. And as it turns out, there's been a great deal of scientific work that's been done with mediums like Lisa that has proven, to my mind, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that something real is happening. So the film that we're making here, there are 2 parts of it. One is looking at the scientific evidence that does now exist, showing us that something real is happening. And the other part of the film, and I think the more important part, is the healing that is possible. Because when this moment happened for me, and I knew without a doubt that my dad is still very much here and with us, the healing was like so instant. It was incredible. It instantly took me out of that hole. Of course, I miss his physical presence, of course, but I have no doubt that he's here all the time. And that kind of healing is, there's no amount of therapy could give that to you. So that's the other part of the film, is looking at people such as you folks who've had an experience with a medium that has brought healing to you. And so that's what we just wanted to hear about. We just wanted to hear your stories.
So,
are you okay with going first?
Yes.
What's your name?
My name's Elaine.
Hi, Elaine. Mike, nice to meet you. So I'll just give you that, Elaine. So, Elaine, first of all, if you would tell us who you lost.
I lost
lost my husband about a year and a half ago. Okay, and he had been sick for a bit. He had heart issues, but I wasn't expecting him to pass when he did. I woke up one night and he was laying next to me and he was gone. And I tried my best to resuscitate him, but it didn't happen. And I was pretty much devastated. I mean, we had been together for almost 36 years, okay. And so a friend of mine, because I was just so devastated I couldn't function, a friend of mine called me up and said, you know, I know a woman who is a medium, and really you should take her number and you should go see her. And like yourself, I wasn't overly religious, and I was skeptical, and I was like, I hemmed and I hawed, and she kept calling me, going, did you call Lisa yet? And I said, no, but I'm gonna. So I called Lisa, and Lisa called me back, and all she knew was my first name and my cell phone number. And I went and sat down with her and had a reading. And when I walked in, I was still skeptical. And she started reading me and told me about my mother's family here and my grandfather behind me and a man sitting to the left of me and another man who kept saying he was my father. And I thought to myself, oh, this is sketchy because my father's still alive. And she goes, but it's weird. He keeps telling me he's your father, but he's your second father. And my mouth dropped. And she said, you know, it's an F, and there's a 9 and a 26. And I said, that's my stepfather, Frank, okay? And he spoke first. He wanted to pass a message on to my mother. And then she looked to the left of me again and went, oh my God, that's your husband. And she experienced his passing and told me things that only him and I would know. And from that day on, I was like, it's the real deal, okay? And she reads me quite often, not that I go sit with her, but she'll call me up and she'll say, your husband, you know, has left me this or said that. And my husband leaves me signs and symbols all the time. I find 11 cents all over the place.
I think the whole group finds 11 cents now, so we all connect.
We had a storm, what was it, in the fall, summer, late summer, fall. I was without power for 3 days. And on the second day, I thought my power was back on, but it wasn't. It was my husband making the lights go on and on. Because I would cry all day, every day, and rant and rave and talk to him, and I would get signs and symbols. And Lisa called me up, and you know, when I was there, she said, I have a group. Your husband keeps saying, you know, I should tell you about it. You're welcome to come. Don't come. Because one of the first messages she passed about my husband to me was, my wife is black and white. If she can't see it, she doesn't believe it. Tell her, don't stop believing, okay? And that kind of was like, oh my God, okay, me dead on, okay? And then my husband sent me other things. He sent me a new boyfriend that I blew off and blew off and blew off. And one morning Lisa called me. And she goes, your husband keeps telling me he's pushing a gentleman towards you. And don't f it up is exactly what he said.
You know, that's getting bleeped.
And
Just
I said,
saying.
that's my husband, because that's how he talks. And I said, oh, really? Okay. And she said, I promise you, promise you, promise you, that's what he's telling me. He's pushing a gentleman towards you, don't fuck it up. And she goes, now, is some guy calling you? And I was like, yeah. Okay, I've been blowing him up.
About that,
No, I didn't, no.
And we became good friends, and she's helped me get through my grief a lot, just knowing my husband's always with me.
Yeah, because so it's only been a year and a half.
Yes.
And before meeting with Lisa, you said that like you could barely leave the house.
Before I met Lisa, it was within a couple months after he passed, and I wouldn't leave the house.
So this experience,
These people are my family,
yeah.
and Lisa's my family.
So you would definitely say this has been a healing.
Very healing. Very, very healing, just to know that there is something afterwards. And
You have no doubt now that your husband is really here.
I have no doubt.
That's pretty cool.
and everybody finds 11 cents.
Yeah.
We all do, the whole group. We post it on our page.
How's it going with the guy?
Really well.
Yeah?
My husband said, this man is a hard worker. He works hard. He'll cherish you the way I do.
Does he know that he's got this guy on the other side?
At first he didn't believe, but then one day he came home and he goes, your husband was riding in my truck with me and I know it was him. Because I caught him out of the side of my eye and he woke me up. I almost took out the barriers on the George Washington Bridge.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's just been, I mean, it kind of turned my life around. It really did. Because, I mean, I don't know if I would be able to function. I just know he's with me. And I get his messages and I get his signs and it just makes me know there's something else and it gets me through and I can function again.
That's so cool. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
I mean, Lisa she's amazing. She has a gift.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Thank you so much.
Anybody else up?
Hi, I'm Sue. My ex-husband was killed tragically over a year ago, and the last few years we didn't have a relationship, and he didn't have a relationship with our daughter as well. So it was very hard for her when her dad passed suddenly. We met Lisa probably 3 weeks after his death at a group reading. And she kept on saying, what's 22, what's 22, what's 22? And nobody really understood what 22 was. And finally, we put 2 and 2 together. That's where he got killed, was on Route 22. And my daughter shared this with me. I'm not too sure if I shared it with Lisa or not, but she kept on sitting there, and Lisa was talking to other people in the group first, and she kept on talking to her dad and said, you know, Dad, I don't know if I believe, I don't know if I believe. And all of a sudden she looked over to my daughter and said, who's Amanda? And that's my daughter's name.
She came out with the full name.
Yeah, yeah. And then she kept on saying, what's 821, 821, or 8 or 21? And that was her birthday, is August 21st. Yeah, so she pretty much helped us heal through the process of him passing, and she's guided me a lot in different routes that we have to take in order to put this whole thing to rest. She also, too, my daughter is a Audrey Hepburn fan, and she had a poster of Audrey Hepburn on her wall and a picture with her that day of the reading. And Lisa looked at Amanda straight in her eyes and she said, you really like Audrey Hepburn, don't you? She said, yeah. She goes, you have a picture of her in your pocketbook, don't you? And Amanda just was like, yeah, I do, you know. So from that point on, Amanda and I truly believe in Lisa. She is beyond a phenomenal medium. She also has helped heal a 19-year-old from feeling guilty about not having a relationship with her dad. So it's come a long way for her.
So does Amanda feel now for real that her dad is still...
Oh, yeah. Oh. We find 11 cents. He's turned the television on and off quite many times on her while she's in her bedroom. Or one day she came home from class and she said, Mom, are you home for lunch? I said, no. She said, are you sure? I said, Amanda, I know when I'm home for lunch. And she's like, the TV was on. I said, I'd make sure everything's off before I leave because I'm not going to pay a huge electric bill. So, and then the picture of Audrey Hepburn that he gave her as his last Christmas present to her was actually moved to the side, turned around a couple of times. And I said, I didn't touch it. She goes, I didn't touch it either. So he definitely sends her signs a lot and truly believes.
The present he gave to her was a picture of Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, a small little picture, like a 5x7.
Mentioned Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he was a smoker. And just the other day, I was downstairs because that's where he was a lot the last few years. And all I did was smell smoke. And we don't smoke in the house. I kept on saying, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? Just stop smoking. You know how much I hate it. And he actually guided me to what he wanted me to get to. So, you know, I believe he's still full force in there. My little dog is a Japanese Chin. And one night, excuse me, she was sitting on the rug and she just kept looking up at the front door and kept going like this. And so all of a sudden I took my phone out and I started taping what she was looking at. And there was orbs jumping out. And Lisa just recently was at my house doing a reading. She said, that's definitely where he hangs out, is by the front door. So yeah, so Lisa is a phenomenal person, inside and out, a good friend. And again, like Elaine, I will say that this is all our family. We heal together. We cry together. We heal together. We cheer together. So we do a lot together.
And none of you folks knew each other before meeting Lisa?
Well, a couple of us did.
A couple, okay. But mostly you came together through this. Yeah, wow. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm nervous.
That's okay.
But great.
What's your name?
My name's Mary Ellen, and I just joined this group 4 or 5 months ago or so. I lost my daughter. She was 18 by a drunk driver, and she was my only child. It's been very hard. I had a lot of problems after she died. I couldn't function very well, and I was very just despondent with everything. I didn't want to go through anything. I didn't want to have any life, you know. Nothing was good. I went to several mediums, but they just didn't have a gift. They didn't have anything specific that they could tell me that was any different than what anybody else would say, you know. Then I went to a group reading with Lisa several months ago with a friend of mine, and she says, "Who is Nicole?" And I said, "That's my daughter, Nicole Marie." And I said, and the other girl's name that had the party was named Nicole, but she goes, I'm the other Nicole here. And I almost freaked out, and I said, "Oh my God." And she was just, different things that she said and different types of music, that she was a dancer, and that she was just different things that she liked to do, and, you know, the colors. And it really, really helped me, because I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. Before that, I knew that there has to be something out there. That, you know, they just can't. All of these wonderful things happen, and there has to be something. And after I left her that night, I was so, and she invited me to the group. And then, you know, I started coming to the group. But after she left me that night, I left the group that I was in. I had a wonderful feeling, and I just was like, I think I can go on now. I mean, now I feel like I have just a wonderful feeling. I mean, if she can't be with me, she's with God. And what better of a place can that you want her to be, you know? And she helped me, and she's just so wonderful. And she was telling me different places. She told me how she passed away, you know, was on the highway. I never talked to her before. I've never seen her before in my life. And, you know, how the car rolled and this and that and the other thing of how she died. But I tell you, now I can, like I said, it'll be 8 years in May. And like I was telling her, it seems like yesterday, but then it seems like a million years ago. But I know she's there because I know she's around me. I smell her. I see little feathers on the floor with hers, different things from her room that I've never changed. I know it sounds kind of weird, but same clothes in the drawers, same clothes in the closet. I can't bring myself to do that yet. But, you know, one day I'll be doing that. But thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Just
Thank
awesome.
you.
You are awesome. And like I said, I've been to the group and I've met everybody here, and everybody's so wonderful. It just makes you feel like a big family. It really does.
That's so great.
That's
Thank
it.
you
Yeah.
so much for sharing.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I actually knew Lisa from many, many years ago.
Oh, okay. Now we'll get the real dirt.
I can't say, but I hadn't seen her since she was probably 17 years old. My grandson, Luciano, passed away 3.5 years ago. He was 5 months old. He died waiting for a heart transplant. And my daughter's not having an easy time with it. So right after he passed, I saw Lisa's picture in a local, like North Haven Courier or something that way, like that, and I called. And I said, can we come? And she said, of course. So we did go, and she had, you know, she said a lot about the baby, and Samantha was, you know, really taking it all in, my daughter Samantha. But there was one thing about me that no one really knew. Maybe my husband knew, maybe my daughter. My mom and I never had a relationship. We were not close at all. And the last conversation I had with her, she had asked me to do something for her, and I couldn't do it. And she said to me, you're useless, and you do nothing for me. And she hung up in my face. But I was used to that. And growing up all your life, you kind of really do wonder about that. You wonder why she kind of like never really liked you, you know. As she was talking to Samantha, she stopped. She said, excuse me, your mom passed? So I said, yes. She said, she left you with words of anger. And I said, yes, she did. And she said she's apologizing for that. So that was huge. I can actually say that I could have let it go. At 60-something years old, you could finally let it go. And I thank you for that. But again, also, my husband and I were on the beach, and as I sat in the chair, I leaned over, and there was a dime and a penny on the sand. In the sand, I had to take a picture of it. My husband's like, why are you taking a picture of 11 cents? And also, doing this, for her to do this, although in your mind you know you're not alone, but you're alone in your grief until you come to something like this. And everybody's just so wonderful. So wonderful. And I thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hi, my name's Jen. My mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2010, stage 4, this really rare cancer that we're all kind of, well, what the heck is that? We all fought the fight with her. You know, my dad, they had been divorced for years, and my dad became her main caretaker. My brother and I helped out when we could. He was in town. I lived about an hour away. And she went back and forth between feeling really, really good, not so good, really, really good, not so good. Well, we thought 2014 was our year. We were told by Yale that one of her appointments, they couldn't find, the cancer that she had hadn't spread, hadn't gotten bigger. We're like, sweet, this is good. Right around Mother's Day that year, I found out I was pregnant. We're like, yes, sweet, you know, this is great, this is great. Come into June, going into July, she starts going downhill. Just the pain won't go away, the pain won't go away. And we're like, Ma, it's just you gotta eat, you'll feel better. You gotta do this, you'll feel better. You know, nobody really realized that the cancer was starting to take over. I find out at my 3-month appointment that the baby has this horrible birth defect and may or may not survive. And this just hit us. You know, we're like, this pregnancy was supposed to be kind of the thing that we're thinking will bounce my mom into feeling better. July 22nd, my mom lost her battle. We were all there in hospice with her. We had moved her into her own room where we could all be with her. And I mean, we were laughing about something stupid her dog did. And we all looked over, and it's almost like she had a little smirk on her face. She wanted us all to be together. 2 weeks later, I lost the pregnancy. And I was like, why? You know, first my mom, who wouldn't do anything to harm a fly, why? Why is she sick? And then I started questioning, well, why the baby? This was supposed to be something happy. Why? My girlfriend had done a reading with Lisa, and she said, I know this medium, her name is Lisa, she's phenomenal, she's starting this group up, a support group for people who have lost loved ones, why don't you come? So I did, met all these wonderful people, and we just talked. You know, you talked if you wanted to, or you listened, you laughed, you cried. I mean, we all supported each other. Lisa had done a group reading that Christmas. She said, this is my Christmas gift to you guys. And just whoever came through, came through. Well, my mom came through holding a pink blanket. And I said, well, no, it turns out we weren't going to find out the sex of the baby. It turns out it had been a boy. She said, well, anybody else? And I said, I don't know anybody else who had a miscarriage. I tested positive 2 weeks later, ended up having a little girl. Her name is Rosabella, and she belongs to this group.
She has a lot of odds.
These guys threw me a phenomenal baby shower, and little Bella, September 1st. I eventually ended up doing a reading with Lisa. I wanted to talk to my mom, you know, see how things were going, and it was a group reading. There were 2 other fathers who would come through for the 2 people, and I mean, they were back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And my mom's very passive. She just kind of waited for her turn, and all of a sudden Lisa said, okay, who's getting cremated and going to Cape Cod? And it turns out, 2 things I never knew about my mom is she wanted to be cremated and she wanted to be spread on the beaches of Cape Cod. We vacationed there every year, forever. And I said, well, that's my mom. And she says, well, when are you getting on with it? Because she wants to go to the beach. Let's go. You know, obviously she passed at the kind of towards the end of summer, and then the cremation, that took a while, and we didn't want to go up there in the winter, just it's freezing. So we had planned a vacation in August of last year, and my dad, my brother, myself, her best friends, we were all there, and we spread her ashes in the waters off Cape Cod at one of our favorite beaches. We went to sunsets every night there that we could. And 2 ways I knew she was there. As we were doing it, I couldn't very well bend over. I'm 8 months pregnant at this point. I couldn't bend over and spread ashes, so my dad and my brother did. A lone seal popped up about 10 feet from us and just stared at the 3 of us and then drifted away. And then, I mean, the sea was like glass. This rogue wave came out of nowhere and knocked the 3 of us over. I used to play an April Fool's joke on her every year, and it would make her so mad. The sprayer on the sink, I used to put a rubber band around it, so when she turned on the sink first thing in the morning, it'd soak her. Well, I got the majority of the wave. So that's how I knew. She was like, thank you, I'm at the beach, now screw you all. It is your turn to get wet. You know, I often think back to this group, and, you know, in the very beginning, you know, we all came here for a reason. We all came here to share our grief, to get support. And now we don't have, for me anyway, I don't have to come here. I want to come here. You guys are my family. You know, you're my daughter's family. You know, we're more than just strangers, you know, who are, you know, flapping our gums. You know, we're all family. We all love each other. And Lisa, it's because of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name's Lori, and I've known Lisa for a lot of years. I work with her brother, and I knew her even before she started reading people. And so it was pretty amazing to go from not knowing about her gift to knowing about it. And I remember, let me first mention that I lost my grandfather about 14 years ago. I've lost many other people since. However, he was my father figure. And the week that I was going to tell him that I was pregnant with my son at the time, he passed away before I was able to. And it was extremely difficult for me. So once, actually a few years ago, prior to this group, a few years prior to this group, Lisa reached out and she texted me, I believe first, seeing if I can talk, because she absolutely was unable to concentrate or study the work that she was trying to get done, and had to tell me something. And that, right then, when I called her and she started talking to me, and I completely, validated things she was saying about my grandfather, I just realized this woman, this friend of mine, is absolutely amazing and has this gift. And helped me with closure big time. And, at the time I was going through, a tough time, and I just remember her saying how he was saying something about not looking out the window at, let's say, at the rain. Look out the window and see light or sunshine. Basically he wanted to see me happy. And he said many other things that completely validated that it was him. He's even come to visit, like he came to my son has seen him, and there's been signs, she would let me know, yep, that was a sign, or I see his name all the time, or at certain times when I know he's saying to get down and visit my grandmother. Like I know if I go too many weeks not seeing her, all of a sudden I see his name. My mom sees something, my son sees something, and it's like, go see him. Go see her. And, he had passed, when he passed, it was from emphysema. So he was on, a breathing machine for a while. My son never got to meet him, but he did since, because he came to him. I remember also one time when I was at Lisa's house, she had me call one of my coworkers who had lost her husband, and we had gone to actually spread the ashes at Bethany Beach in Delaware, and she went down to every last detail. It's interesting because literally just a week ago I was with this coworker, and she was telling somebody else about how Lisa spoke about this, and it was amazing how she could just say that my friend went to walk down the beach but stopped here to do something and then continued on. It was every last detail that she provided on how it went about, how the ashes were spread, and I was actually there. What's that?
A friend of mine just spread
really?
father's ashes at Bethany.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
That's very unusual.
That's coincidental.
Maybe not. Maybe
that
not coincidence. Nothing's a coincidence.
Nothing is a coincidence. And also with the 11 cents, a few weeks back, I saw 11 cents, and it's always a dime and a penny. I just happened to be getting coffee, looked down at a store.
Well, I think,
and
excuse me one second. I just want to explain this so you would understand when we keep saying 11 cents. Is Elaine's husband started this whole thing because I said to her during a reading one night here, I said, did you find 11 cents? Because he said he left it for you. So she said, yeah, when I went into the Relay for Life place last year, they had a meeting. She goes, I found 11 cents. So ever since then, it's not pennies from heaven. For keeping the spirit alive, it's 11 cents. So when their spirit is around, they leave 11 cents for them. So everybody finds a dime and a penny, so we all post it. So it's crazy, but we don't. I don't find 26 cents or I don't find 30 cents. It's 11 cents all the time. So that's from.
Busy guy finding boyfriends.
I'll tell you why he said 11 cents, because he would leave me pennies, and I would find pennies, and I'd pick them up and I go, oh, pennies. That's not from you. I go, if it's you, you need to leave me more than pennies. Leave me dimes and pennies or quarters and pennies. And then dimes and pennies started showing up.
So everybody's spirit here leaves them 11 cents. So the
I was happy with 11 cents or 26.
Yeah, I think we're all happy with 11 cents because at least we know at that time when we find it that they're there.
We can't buy anything with it.
Yeah, we can think about them.
The memory of our loved ones priceless.
Really? How many have actually found 11 cents?
Yeah.
Wow, I called you from work that day.
Yeah, I found it the other
We
day.
started
posted,
posting
so
the
yeah. So I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but I
that's
just have to
okay.
explain because everybody keeps saying 11 cents. So it's just
I
our
walked
spirit.
in the bedroom one time and it was 11 cents and my daughter goes, "Ooh, Daddy, look." I go, "Don't touch it. Let Mommy see it first."
Yeah.
Computer screen though, it was 5 in the afternoon. It was the day Ed passed, 131.
Right.
Okay? Because he passed at 131 at 1131 at night.
Right.
And your computer screen.
No, my microwave, the
And
day
your
he
microwave,
died, my
too.
microwave, the clock said 131. It was like 6 o'clock at night. I called her up. I called him. I'm like, do you see that? It says 131. There's nothing wrong with the stove. And it wasn't reset. It's 131. I go downstairs to text her, to put her on the computer because she doesn't have text message. So I open the laptop and on the corner of it says 131. It's 6:30 at night. I was like, and so I was taking pictures of it and I was calling her. So he's very powerful spirit. Some are. Some work that way, and so I think it's great. He's really off the chart. So every time you find 11 cents, it just means
for 11 cents.
Ed'll leave it for you.
11 cents.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, it's just been amazing to see Lisa pretty much transform from, before doing readings to doing a telephone reading to, I want to do group, but I'm not sure. It's a nerve-wracking thing, especially when you're just going to come out about it, So, family, friends, everybody was there for her and her husband, and she's just doing amazing. To go from that to now doing restaurant group readings, to forming a support group, that's something I never ever would have imagined. And when she ever brought it up, I'm like, yeah, definitely, I want to be a part of that. And I'm so thankful because, like everybody else said, we are all family. Everybody, just clicks. We get it, and we cry together, we laugh together. We have Christmas parties together. The one last thing I want to mention is she's completely selfless person. Every year when I volunteer for a domestic violence conference because I work in law enforcement, and I always ask her, would you mind donating a reading? Because several people that attend have obviously lost people, but also, the parents who lost this young lady to domestic violence, lost her back in the 90s, they also were interested in, hearing about her. And I ask every year, and every year she donates a reading. So I just, thank you for everything, Lisa.
Hi, my name is Bill, and I basically came here as moral support for my girlfriend because she has a lot of loss. But as I started coming here and I started meeting a lot of people here, I discovered that it is, everyone's like a family. You become friends, and I started enjoying coming, and really liked it. And, my father did pass away, but Lisa was trying out a group reading, and she looks at me and she said, "Oh, your father wants to say that he walked." I said, "What?" She goes, "Because when my father passed, I always said to my brothers and sisters, when Dad passed, he ran to heaven, because he was the last one left in his line. Everybody else passed." And I always said that. He just ran to heaven, and Lisa happened to say that your father wanted to say he walked. I said, "You've got to be kidding me." And another thing Lisa said that same day was she kept saying four brothers, 4 sons. And I said, "No, there's just 3 of us, just 3. She goes, "Oh, okay, whatever." So later I went home and I talked to my mother, and I never knew this, but my mother had a miscarriage, and it was a little boy named James. So there would have been 4 boys. So that, I don't even know if I told you that, Lisa.
No.
But that was pretty remarkable that you picked that up. But yeah, I was basically here for moral support for my girlfriend, and she has a lot of loss. So I'm just going to pass it over to her.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Yes, I have had a lot of loss. I met Lisa December 16th, 2013. I had lost in a 3-year period of time. So I get blotchy when I get nervous. Well, I had lost my sister who was 47, and 7 months later my mom, and then 9 months later my only child, and then a year later my dad. So basically our family had a really tough time. And the loss of, and I don't mean to diminish the loss of my parents or my sister, but they were all ill for a long time. My son was on New Year's Day, January 1st, talk about 11/1/1/1/1. I see it all the time. I see it in the morning, I see it at night, 11/11. It was sudden. It was an accidental overdose. New Year's Eve, he had surgery, and he went out on New Year's, and I told him, do not drink with that medication. And, oh, Ma, nothing's going to happen. People do it all the time. Ma, don't be ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But he did. He was awake until 7 o'clock that morning, and then he went to bed, and his girlfriend woke up around 12:30, and he was already blue. So he was gone somewhere in that time frame. I don't know, but anyway, so 2 years had passed, and I really wanted to go see a medium. I always had wanted to, but always was skeptical. And finally, my sister had been at a demonstration, and they were giving somebody referenced Lisa's name. I don't know if it was a gift certificate. I found out she was right down the street from me because I literally went nuts, was agoraphobic for 2 years, barely left my house. And I thought, oh, she's right down the street. And because I was so skeptical, my son had given me this little flip phone that was registered. I did an Intellis reverse lookup and everything. It was from that weird National Liquidators where Home Depot is now. It was in a package. It was brand new, but it was when you did the I never told you this because when I called you, it was anonymous. But it was an anonymous call. So
she took all the steps.
I was very skeptical. So I called anonymously from this little flip phone, and Lisa called me, and she gave me the appointment, and she was literally right down the street from me. And the reading was mind-blowing. My son came through. He obviously is the one. Now, it was almost 2 years because it was December 2013, so it was going on the 2-year anniversary. And what Lisa referenced with my son was she asked me who Lou was. Who's Lou? And that was huge. My son worked for 9 years for this company where he worked with this man, Lou, an older man. He's in his 70s. My son was 30 when he passed. But he had worked in this company from 21 to 30 for 9 years. And Lou was a deacon who worked with Justin, my son. And Lou and Justin were really, really close. Lou and my son were very, very close. And Lou had, he's got issues and he was losing toes. And my son used to make him little crosses. He made him a lot of crosses and canes. He used to weld them. So Lou did, he had to get special permission from St. Mary's Church to perform the wake service, the service at the wake. I was shocked. I didn't even know he was going to be there. And when I walked in, there was Lou. Because Lou used to pick my son up because my son's cars would break down in 9 years, He was really close to Lou. Lou was like his surrogate dad. And Lou performed the service. So when Lisa said, who's Lou? And did he speak for his I was like, oh, God. And then she said, who's Daniel? She said, Daniel, Danny? She said, did he do some kind of fundraising? That was my son's best friend since they were 4 in daycare, and he did 3 fundraisers for my son. And she said, you need to tell Daniel your son is saying oh, thank you, and thank you to Lou. Okay, so there's 2 things to blow you away. The reading continued. Oh, when I first went in because of the magnet magnitude of the loss, one of the first things she said to me was, she said, "I see a lot of empty chairs at the Christmas table." And I was like, whew. Yeah, because holidays are tough, especially when somebody's lost. And the last time I saw my son was Christmas Eve, before New Year's Day. So yeah, it was really tough time. And then as the reading went on, I mean, there were so many things, but the things that were really so convincing with Lou and Danny, I mean, that's just mind-blowing. And she didn't know me at all. She knew how my son passed. She referenced my ex-husband, who was my son's father. And we were high school sweethearts, and we kept in touch throughout our whole lives. We never stopped speaking. He was my best friend. And she said to me, "You had only one husband." She said, "He was there." She said, "My son was with him." And she said, "You were only married once." She said, 1979? And I said, "That was the year we got married." And then she said, "I'm getting a number 2, but I'm getting another number 2. She said, "That would be February 2nd. I said, "That's the day we got married." This is, I mean, I could play this reading to you. It's on record. Another thing that she said was when she was talking about my ex-husband's mom had passed away when he was 16, and her name was Betty, Elizabeth, but they called her Betty. And I was in Florida. I was about 14 years old. My husband, well, we weren't married yet. He was 16. His mom passed away when he was 16. She was 47 from a brain aneurysm suddenly. Her name was Betty, and I was in Florida. And Lisa said to me, she said, "And who's Betty?" After she was talking about my husband and the date we got married. And I said, "That's my ex-husband's mom." And I thought, wow, she's coming. I go, that was a long time ago. And she said, "Did she smoke a lot?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she said something. She said, "Were you away? Did you miss her service?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "Yes, I was in Florida. I was in a phone booth. And actually, I was talking to my husband, who wasn't my husband yet, my boyfriend at the time, for about a week and a half. And people were not, she was in a coma, and they had to, take life support away from her. But people weren't telling me because they didn't know what was going to happen. And so, I don't know, I could go on and on and on. Oh, one of the other things she did say, I'm trying to just keep this to point because obviously the grief is overwhelming. And it still is. It's a lot. It's my son. But when we were leaving, the reading, I think we were in the parking lot because I was also taping it on my son's iPhone because I didn't know if Lisa was going to record it. And we were out in the parking lot at this point, and she said to me, "And who's up on the hill?" And I said, "Who's up on the hill?" I don't know. I don't know what she's talking about now. And this is the cemetery is what she was talking about, but I didn't know. She said, "Between St. Jude and," I don't know what the other saint is. I think it was Anthony. And I said, "That's where they're all buried." Yeah. And I said, "Wow." I said, "Yeah." So that's the reading part of it. The grief part of it, obviously, is overwhelming. And being here with these people is wonderful. I've been to 3 other support groups, and this is the one that I keep coming to. Again, Lisa is phenomenal, and all these people are phenomenal.
So, thank you so much. I can imagine that kind of loss.
Yeah.
Hey, so you had mentioned that you'd gotten to a point where you're almost agoraphobic.
Oh, I
almost,
was.
You were afraid to even leave the house. And obviously, here you are now, tonight. So it's fair to say that this has made a difference, a definite difference in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lisa's wonderful. Joe is wonderful. And everybody here in the support group is just beautiful and loving. And it's a big, huge help.
Your ex-husband is on the other side?
Yes, he is.
I wonder if he's involved in that guy.
And this
Look at that.
You know, it's funny, her sister said that we look alike.
They kind of do. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
My wife Debbie is here, and she'll talk more than I will, I'm sure. Sorry, that came out absolutely wrong. And the only one who's cheering is Joe, and I know that he has nowhere for me to go. So we lost our son Alex on August 31st of 2013. He passed. He was in a car accident on August 19th, and he really didn't even have to be in the car at that moment. He worked at Dairy Queen, and he had worked there for over a year. And we were so proud of him that he stuck it out for that time, because he had a lot of difficulty at times. But he stuck it out, and he was trying to find out what his schedule for the next week was going to be. And he always felt guilty about calling because someone had to leave what they were doing to take the call, and he was afraid that they would have left a customer. So he drove over just to check his own schedule. And as he was coming back, a woman came through and sideswiped him, and then, yeah, I think that he ended up stepping on the gas, but he swerved and he ended up hitting a telephone pole. Now, telephone poles are generally made to collapse. This one, however, was on the corner, so it was encased in cement on the corner. He was a terrible accident, and when the two firefighters right up the street came running down to extricate him from the car, they had to use the jaws of life, and they were surprised that he actually survived the accident, and they didn't think he was going to survive the ride to the hospital, but he did. Alex was a wonderful kid. He was, as I said, about 17 years and 8 months. So it was just after that, but he was a very nice kid. And I just wanted to talk about that. And I want to talk a little bit about Lisa, too. Lisa came to our house at a reading. She was referred to us by someone that she had done a reading for. Jim Hutchinson was a friend of mine. I knew him in grammar school. He ended up moving and going to high school, and so he knew Debbie at Milford High School. I went to Jonathan Law. And he and I share a birth date. We were both born on January 26th of 1955. So we call each other twin. So he said, I had to give Lisa a call, or we had to give Lisa a call. And I said, well, I'll let Debbie know, and we'll see. And so that was fine. When Lisa came over, the first words that she said to us were, what does the episode with the bike mean? Well, Alex always had problems with bikes. For some reason, I don't know why. He fell when he was young, about 8 years old, and he fractured his elbow, and he wouldn't ride a bike ever since then. But he talked about bikes, and we getting him bikes on the effort and the hope that he would eventually just ride one. But he never did. And he made us go out and hang the bike upstairs, inside on the roof of the shed. But that's so much him that came through Lisa that we thank you very much for all that you've done for us, too.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll just add a little bit more.
I knew she would.
Well, just to clarify the bike and a whole thing, my other son, who we have, is 30, almost 30. He and I were cleaning out the shed that same week, and there was a bike in there. And I said, where did this come from? And my son said, oh, you're not getting rid of that. I said, why not? What is it? And he had made it at Sports Authority when he worked there for his brother. So did his brother, and he would take him out to try and get him to ride the bike. So he said, you're not getting rid of it. And I said, well, what do I do with it? And he goes, I don't know, hang it up or something. So what Alex said to Lisa was, hang up the bike in the garage. Well, it wasn't a garage, it was a shed. So right from the time she walked in, we said, wow, how would she know? How would she? I hadn't even told him that story. So it was amazing. And she continued to tell us things about Alex that there's no way she could have known it. And we have a lot of stories, but we have a long way to go. But Alex continues to send us signs all the time. We get feathers, we get, the things with the lights and all that. But he doesn't like to come through on group sessions because he was always very shy, very polite. And when we had the session with Lisa, she said he's a very polite young man, and he was. But she just knew things about him that were amazing. So we continued after that. We didn't know Lisa. She didn't know us. And we just developed this relationship, and she started this group. And we were very happy about that we could come every week and meet all these people. And it does help with the healing because it helps you to know that he is there. And you do feel it all the time. I mean, you know, at different times I talk to him. We have a granddaughter. My other son has a daughter. She was 4 at the time. Loved her Uncle Alex. Still cries about how she misses Uncle Alex. She could see him. And we didn't realize that. She would talk about Alex, so Alex is over here, and Lisa told us. He said Kylie can see him. And that we had a time where we were redoing our floors. We stayed in a hotel and had an upstairs loft. And she stayed upstairs loft, and she's very much like her father, lives on the edge of life, and, you know, unlike his brother, and I was scared to death. I said, you know, if Michael were here, he'd be jumping from the loft down to see if he could land in the couch. So I was sure his daughter would do that. So I said, Alex, please watch over her. Next morning, she says to me, can you take a picture of me in the bed with all her stuffed animals? So I said, sure. So I took a few pictures, and I pull it up, and there she is in the bed with an orb right over her head. And I said, I just, you know, kind of said, oh, that's Uncle Alex, you know, and you can clearly see it over. She said, oh, yeah, I know, he's in the bed with me. So he clearly watched over her to make sure she didn't do anything. So, and the, you know, other things that Lisa would tell us, she'd call and say, hey, you know, Alex is saying this or Alex is saying that. So you clearly feel he's around, and it does make the healing so much easier to know that he's still here with us. And we thank Lisa for that and the group.
There is one quick story that I want to just mention that Lisa called, to show how Lisa stays in touch with people. He was buried at a cemetery in Hamden, and a while before we had the headstone completed, and we had the headstone installed, and Debbie and I went up to see it one time, and she was very close to it and spending a lot of time really close to it, and that was okay. I figured I'll talk to her about it later on. And Lisa called me that Saturday morning. That was like a Friday afternoon. And she called me on Saturday morning, and she said, Alex has been bugging me all the time. He wants to know, he's asking me questions. Is there anyone asking questions that he can provide an answer to? I said, well, I don't have any questions that you might be able to help with. And then I told Lisa the story about Debbie being near the headstone. And so I finally said to her, yeah, she does. She likes the headstone. And so then Lisa said, I'll tell Alex. And so, but she doesn't give up on people. She doesn't let things roll away. We're very, very grateful for Lisa, and I think many people in the group on this side of the room so far have expressed that, and I'll leave it over here.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So sometimes Lisa will call you guys and just say, hey, so-and-so is bothering me about something.
Well, I got to talk to somebody. Their family's coming to me, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, so I'll just call them up and ask them, and then I call them up and ask them, and they validate it, and I say, all right, bye. And then I could get things done.
How cool.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Thank you very much.
My name is Denise. I have not had a reading, and I'm relatively new to the group. Lisa was at a friend's house doing a group reading, and my girlfriend recommended I contacted her for this. I've had a lot of losses as well. I lost my dad, my brother, and my sister, and I don't find 11 cents. I want to find the 11 cents.
You will.
Yes.
You will.
So I'm skeptical, but I'm open to it. So I continue to come and listen to the stories and the support. But it's a difficult struggle. I've gone to different religious grief healing therapists, and it's just been really a hard time for me. So.
Is there a reason you won't have a private reading with Lisa?
I just started a couple of months ago. Yeah, no, I just started. Yeah, so.
I haven't got to her yet.
Haven't gotten
Yeah. I'll be calling her up. Yeah, I'll be calling her up too next.
I just said to Debbie, I have to get a reading. I got to do a reading. Yeah, I need to do one. So.
Yeah, usually sometimes for just when I just feel it coming on, like, you know, because I read 6 days a week, so when I come here, it's kind of nice to just talk to everybody. Like, let's just talk and keep the medium part out of it. And then all of a sudden I can't breathe, and then I got to tell somebody something. And before you know it, I'm reading to everybody, and we're having a big old
I
party.
noticed before you were getting a little fidgety, and I was wondering.
Yeah, because there's somebody named Ann that's been bothering me all day. So Ann passed on the other side, and today would be somebody's birthday or something significant about today.
My sister's Ann, but I can't think of anything
Okay. Is there a birthday or an occasion that would be?
today.
Maybe not hers, but related to her. Because all I keep hearing is I got to talk about Ann.
But your sister's name is Ann? Okay, because as soon as we got here today, Lisa said, there's someone named Ann. I said, hey, Lisa, so when you have a group meeting like this, are there people who try to, are coming at you? And she's like, well, there's this woman, Ann, who's been at me all day long today.
Yeah, but there is somebody's birthday or occasion. There is. 13. It's a lucky number, 13. No, that's my lucky number, 13.
Or the occasion is this right now.
Yeah,
Right here.
right here, right now. Yeah, we didn't know we were going to be doing a reading, but yeah. So.
This is how Lisa rolls.
What did she want?
She wanted me to talk to somebody here, but with everything going on, I felt like I needed to tell Lori this for some reason, but I thought it was from her friend that wasn't here. One of our members is missing today. It was a rough day for the member, her mom. It was the anniversary of her mom's passing, so she couldn't come. But so Ann was coming through, but somebody had stomach issues too. So lower stomach issues.
Her husband died as well. There's so many.
Did he have stomach issues?
At one point, he ultimately died from AIDS.
Okay.
But at one point, when he was losing the weight and they didn't know what was wrong with him, he had to go through where the food, they track it through your, like a lower GI.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
he
it
passed before her, and then
Okay.
she passed.
There is an occasion today, so probably when you go home, if somebody passing, it's an anniversary of a passing, a birthday, or an anniversary, but it's very significant. It's today, because Ann keeps telling me that. Mm-hmm. And she marks December as a connection to you, a December connection to you.
That's her birthday.
It's her birthday?
December.
Okay, perfect. That's just her stepping forward. See, you didn't know you were going to be the only person that gets a reading that didn't get one in the middle of taping. Yes. She's been on it all day.
She was feisty.
So
Yeah.
So you're the one person here who has not had a reading yet from Lisa?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
Well.
You have.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been in the group and had it.
Specifically needed a reading, and Ann has been all day, and your sister's birthday.
And I almost didn't come. I had a different commitment. It was the last minute. Mm-hmm. It was the last minute.
Yeah.
Going to a birthday party?
Whose birthday is it? Really?
No.
Legit.
Ann's birthday's in December, though?
Yeah. And she tells me about the person with the stomach issues. So that makes sense. That would be her husband.
Yeah.
Is there 2 boys, or is there 2? Does she have 2 boys, or she's acknowledging 2 boys? You have 2 sons? Yeah. We didn't plan on that. We didn't plan on that. We didn't plan on that.
It's clean. Thank you. I have 2 sons that she was very close to.
Mm-hmm.
She used to call them the Cutie Brothers. Thank you. And now they're adults.
Right. Your sister is fine on the other side. Yeah. Was her husband, was the AIDS from having somebody else's blood? Listen, because...
No, he was an IV drug user.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
years
keeps going
ago.
like this.
She didn't die from that, though.
No, your
She
brother,
died-
her husband?
Yeah, her husband.
No, she keeps going like this to my veins.
Yeah.
So it's in the blood, she said, from the
IV,
blood, from the IV. So
yeah.
it wasn't sexually transmitted.
Yeah.
It was from this in the blood. So you would understand that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You connect with April, so for your mom or somebody who connects with the 4. So it's the 4th day of any month or April. Since we're doing this, we might as well do it, huh? I don't know. She's been nagging me all day,
April has no...
the 4, so it would be the 4th day. Are you a family of 4? Is there 4 siblings? Or is there you, mom and dad, and you and your sister? There's 4. Your mom keeps writing the 4.
My mom? Oh,
Yes.
my mom is here.
There's a woman above.
Okay, I don't know.
There's an Anne Marie.
That's her.
Okay.
Her name is Ann. Her middle name is Marie. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, wait a minute. Your mom's here in the physical world, but her mother is Anne Marie.
No, my sister's Ann Marie.
Oh, okay.
And
Because
she
somebody.
hated that, though, because...
Oh, I got to just talk over you for a minute. Your mom's mom is passed.
Yes.
Because there's a woman standing above you claiming to be the mother figure. So that's the mother energy that I get. Somebody just writes Anne Marie right across, right over your head. So she is with your grandmother, okay? Mm-hmm. There is a 4 connection, so I have to say it again. So there's 4 siblings, or there's a family of 4 I need to connect with. Who is that?
My sister and my brother, but then about 15 years ago, I found out I had a brother I didn't know about.
Okay, so there's 4 of you. You would understand
And
that,
he's-
correct?
yeah.
So who cares for mom?
Mom?
So, yeah, who? Even if she's physically able to care for herself, who's with her and does things and?
She has a companion.
Okay. Does she have problems with her eyes right now?
No, her companion does.
Okay.
She just had surgery.
Like recently? Because
Like
my eyes.
Like a week ago.
Oh, because my eyes just went like this,
He
really.
had cataracts, both of them.
Yeah, because like literally my eyes just went blurry.
And he wanted to do them both at the same time.
That was dumb. I can't even see it. I'm not even him. I'm like, woo! So they literally do not have to be passed for me to feel somebody's pain. I know it sounds really crazy, but in order for me to understand or connect with you, that's things that happen. So yes. So do you have her cross? Do you have your sister? Because she keeps making a cross. So do you make? You know how they make the palm crosses?
Oh, yeah. No, I
Do you
don't
have? I just want to bless the table. Here we go.
I have her. Thank you.
There's an Anthony also.
Oh, my.
I'm afraid.
That's my brother who passed.
Anthony that passed? Okay. Who had the chest or lung issues? Almost, because somebody makes me feel really congested, so obviously if fluid went to the lungs or something.
My father died of a massive heart attack.
Mm-hmm. Somebody had lung issues.
That I'm not.
Yeah. Yes, because if somebody had kidney failure, I almost feel like I'm filling up like all my major organs.
After my father died, my mother got involved with this guy, not Dennis, oh my God, Henry, and Henry died, what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need to see him.
She wants to pop drugs in the middle of the reading. That's a first. Well, could you got to wait till you got home.
Denise, what's your feel? You want to be a believer after what?
Very
makes you-
much so. My mother feels them around her, and I'm constantly calling her. She's like, you're blocked, you have to relax, you have to
Well, you weren't blocked right now, so I just was able to get right through you.
So after
See
what,
that?
after
You
what
had
just
your-
happened here, what do you feel? What do you feel?
Relief. Because I'm terrified of death. And I know where they are. And wanting them to be safe. And together. My brother's death was a suicide. And I don't like talking about it, but because of the religious occasion, I was always wondering if they were.
Absolutely together. That was just supposed to happen the way it just did, just so everybody knows, okay? It's because, yeah, just the way it was supposed to happen. She was supposed to be around everybody when this happened, so you weren't by yourself. Not one of those? No, just kidding. I had a bad week. Had a bad week.
Isn't that what they did in school? If you don't want enough for everybody, you got to put on your nose.
so much for coming.
Thank you, thank you.
I know, I didn't know if you were. I know you did.
She's grandfathered in too.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I want to know. Why you're booking.
Follow that up.
I don't know about that. My name is Amanda. I lost my grandparents, both of them, a week and 2 days apart back in September. And then 2 weeks after my grandmother passed away, my aunt passed away. So it was, you know, it was tough. My aunt, this is my mom and that's my aunt. My aunt knew Lisa. And she's like, come on, let's go, let's go.
Well, actually, Lisa, I think you reached out to Darlene without even realizing what was going on. Lisa had called Darlene and said, I need to see you. I need to talk to you.
No. Well, you can go and then.
Well, it's better.
Well, let me
should
clear
start-
it up.
yeah. It gets
I
complicated.
knew of Lisa, you know, through acquaintances. But I can remember one night, and I think it was maybe the second time, and we were in 2 different rooms, if she remembers this. And the music's blasting and this and that, and, well, long story short, she grabbed a friend of ours and she said, something's going on with the guy over there, which happened to be my husband. She said, and I don't get this when I'm out because I'm blocking everybody. So my girlfriend said, Lisa needs to see you. And I said, what do I do?
I don't know. Impact on people.
No, I was like, what do I do? And she said, no, she's got to ask you a question. So sure enough, Lisa asked me a couple of questions while she was head on to everything that she was saying about my husband. But to go back to to my niece's story, the morning my mom passed away, out of the blue, and I could probably even show you the message. It was a little while, just around the same time, out of the blue, she sent me a message saying, "Are you okay?" A private message. And I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm okay." Well, sure enough, I should say it was before that, because sure enough, my phone rang at 7 o'clock. I was getting ready for work, normal day, and I missed a phone call, and I looked down, it was my brother's phone number, and I said, I can't call this number. And when I called, sure enough, he said, Mom's gone. So, there. And Lisa didn't know that.
And she had sent you a text message.
She said, well, are you okay? You know, just, are you okay? Is everything all right?
I didn't know her like that.
She didn't know me. She didn't know me, you know, to know. Nobody even knew at that time that my mom had passed. I didn't even know at that time my mom passed away, but she was just like, are you okay? And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. And then I got the call from my brother, so then all of them got.
Well, we were having a hard time with it. And my sister was at my house, and it was the 3 of them in less than a month. And my sister said, I have somebody that we know. Her name is Lisa. You know, we're going to set it up. And Lisa took us immediately for a group reading. I don't even think it was a week. I think you were a little skeptical, too, because it was so fresh. Lisa was like, sometimes when it's that early.
I could read people from the time they pass, because their souls automatically go. I just don't like when people, I feel like they need to be ready to hear the information more than, so I just wanted to make sure they were set.
I was a little nervous going in. It was me, my mom, my aunt, and my cousin. And I was like, I don't really know. She knew nothing about me. She didn't even know my name.
She didn't even know really the relationships between
She didn't know
everybody.
she was my
She knew
mom.
Darlene.
That's it. She didn't know my cousin Teresa was my cousin. You know, and she's sitting there and she goes, is there an Amanda here? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And it was my aunt who came through, who I haven't seen in a long time. Like, we didn't have, but when I was younger, we had an awesome relationship. We were really close. And she goes, okay, and you're her only daughter. I was like, yeah. And she goes, and that's her only daughter, which is my cousin Teresa is her only daughter. And I was like, okay, this is weird. And then she was like, what's the number 17? Now, still not knowing anything about us, the only thing I could relate it to was my daughter's birthday. And she goes, "Oh, you have a daughter?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "And she has a really unique name." I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Okay." So she gets a piece of paper and a pen and she writes down my daughter's name. She goes, "Okay, what's her name?" And I said, "It's Zoe." And she flipped the paper around. Now, the normal spelling for Zoe is Z-O-E. I spell it Z-O-E-Y. And that's exactly how she spelled it. And
it was my sister.
It was
that
my
came
sister
through that
who has never met my daughter, ever.
Never met her.
Never. And I was just like,
Sounds like maybe she has.
Yeah. And then before we had just gotten in there, Lisa, kind of like with the hair thing that somebody mentioned, yourself, I had a necklace that my father gave me personally before he passed away with his ring. When my mother passed away, my brother took the ring off my mother's finger and gave it to me. And I was like in shock when he did it, because she was going to be cremated and he didn't want the ring to go with her. And I put it on the chain with my father's. They were divorced or whatever. And I had gone to work that morning, and I called my daughter from work, and I said, "You need to bring me my chain and my rings." I forgot them home. I was wearing them since the day they had passed. And I said, "I just want to make sure they're with me." You know, like people say that if you have something of theirs, they come a little stronger or whatever it would be. And my daughter met me in the parking lot, and she handed me the chain and the rings. And it was dark. My daughter got in my car. She didn't pass it through the car. She got in my car. She goes, "Here, Ma." I said, "Oh my goodness, thank goodness." I put them on, went in, and Lisa said, "Okay." I just got to tell you, I'm the real deal. And I'm like, I'm kind of just looking at her. I'm like, "Okay." And she said, something happened in the parking lot, like something transpired. And I was like, "Huh?" She said, "You're wearing something, you have like rings or something on." And I was like, "Oh." She goes, "I'm for real. I saw that. Your mother saw that, and your mother's telling me that you put it on." And then Lisa also said that my mother kept telling her, but they just took it off my finger. And I feel very funny wearing the ring because they had just taken it off my mother's finger. And that kind of validated my weird feeling that, because I had given her that ring and my brother wanted me to have it. And Lisa said, "But they just took it off my finger. They just took it off my finger." And that's my expression when my brother handed it to me. He's like, "You just took it off her finger." You know, and I just took it and I put it. But she was the real deal, and things that came through that night. And
That was a crazy reading, if I may
I
say
mean,
so
it was.
myself.
I mean,
certain ones I remember, but when the spirit said to me, she forgot the jewelry at home, and she made somebody bring it.
Yeah.
No, where my
Nobody
office,
knew.
I don't see my parking lot, so I don't see anything. I'm on the opposite end.
Yeah.
No, it's a different office in that. So I don't have a window that sees a parking lot or anything. But her mother was so adamant about saying that she literally made somebody bring the jewelry to her, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like,
it wasn't really even to prove her wrong, but somebody was telling me that if you have it on you, something of theirs, that they can come through stronger. And I was freaking out that I had left it home because I had just gone back to work because I was out of work for like a month. And she said, "Your mother just told me the whole story that your daughter gave." And I was like, I mean, my whole body.
And we just looked at each other, and I was like,
the Zoe got me because that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I
but
mean,
I don't
my
remember
daughter's 3 years
all
old.
the-
My aunt, like I said, my aunt's never met her, and it was just, and I thought it was my grandmother saying that, and Lisa was like, "No, what's your aunt?" And I was like, and then the other day I was doing laundry, and I looked down at the bottom of the washer.
She called.
I was like, "Ma, come here, come here."
I sent it
And
to
she
you.
was like, "What?" There was 33 cents on the bottom of the washing
3
machine.
dimes and 3 pennies, and I'm not kidding.
One for each spirit, one for mom.
But
I was like, my mom goes, "No way." I got 11 cents. I put it in her hand. I said, "Wait a minute." Got the other 11 cents, put it in her hand. I was like, "I'm not done." Got the other 11 cents, I put it in. And I'm like,
that's for the 3
for
spirits.
the 3 losses, and then I sent Lisa another picture because I was at my grandson's birthday party, and And usually my daughter's like, we're like this, you know. Well, nobody's with me, and I'm taking pictures of him blowing out his candle. They had turned the lights off. And there was these flashes coming really fast. And I'm looking in I looked at my phone, and then I looked. I said, there's nothing there. And I looked again. And just as we sang happy birthday, and I snapped the picture, there was 3 orbs right on the left side of his head.
Yeah.
So Lisa said to me, when they come, they will come together. So the day I had the 33 cents, I said, you're at the wrong house. It's Darlene's birthday today. So you need to go
Yeah,
there.
it was on my aunt's birthday that I found the 33 cents.
Darlene, is Lisa the real deal?
Yeah, Lisa is the real deal. Absolutely,
And
yes.
how has it helped you guys to move forward?
I think, I don't know, people say they understand, or when somebody passes, they'll say, well, how you doing? It's okay, it's this and that, and you're like, yeah, it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay for, you know, like my husband even said to me one time, I don't understand, and you talk to people, and I said, it's easier sometimes. It's easier because they understand. He goes, but I lost my dad. I said, but you didn't, I understand you lost your dad, but you didn't lose 3 people in the matter of a month. You know, and not to be able to grieve for one and then go to the second and then go to the third. It's just, and they listen, like you don't have to talk. You can just listen to what they have to say, or you come in the room and somebody has a big smile on their face and they're like, how are you? I'm okay. You know, like they know that you're probably not okay, but it's okay when you walk in the door.
And has it helped you to heal? Like, do you truly believe that they're...
I know they're with me.
Oh, yeah.
I know they're there.
I know too, because my daughter, well, she was really close with my grandmother, and we would always argue back and forth. I'd be like, oh, we're going to see my grandma, and she'd be like, no, it's my grandma, and I was like, no. She'll always pick up like this little play phone that she has, and she'll just start talking, and I'm like, who are you talking to? And she'll be like, I'm talking to my grandma. Do you have a problem with it? So, I mean, I know, especially with her. I mean, both my grandparents went crazy for her when she walked in the door. So it's like, especially with her, like I know.
I just think the house is getting a little crowded. Here's Darlene's address.
All the time. Every time I'm cleaning, I find 11 cents. And I'm like, seriously, I'm just cleaning. Leave me alone.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. I could give you just a quick story too, at least before. There's only a few people that know this, and Lisa, a lot of even my good friends don't know, recent friends. I had lost a son 25 years ago after birth. I was at the reading, and Lisa kept saying, Rocco, Rocco, and I'm like, my son Rocco, because I have another son now that's named Rocco. She's going, yeah, no, there's a Rocco, another Rocco. So then it took me a minute. My daughter slaps me, and she goes like this. She said, Mom, maybe it's our brother. So sure enough, Lisa had mentioned something. She said the names are just a little different, though, because he's on the other side. It's distant. Sure enough, it was my son that I lost 25 years ago. And she said, I just want to let you know that he's around you and he's okay. So, yeah, Lisa is the real deal, because there's not many people know that, only family members.
The chain blew me away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. And Lisa's always there for all of us, and so is everyone else in this room, and they opened up the door. And thank you all. Lisa, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm John, and I knew Lisa from a band that we used to go see and go dancing and stuff. And one of the first times, a medium thing wasn't me. I was not having no part of this stuff.
When you walked in tonight, I thought, oh, this guy's a medium guy.
Yeah, I wasn't any part of that. You know, Lisa and Joe were friends of mine, and I kept my distance. And, I'm a cancer survivor, but when I was going through really, really bad cancer, I had 6 months to live in 2012. And one night we were out, and I was bald-headed and frail and 132 pounds. And Lisa says to me, I don't know if you remember this at Bear and Grill. He said to me, you're going to be all right in a couple of months. And 2 months later, after being in the hospital pretty much 9 months, I was okay. I've still fought the battle and everything, but I'm here, And I wasn't going to come to this group. And my brother kept telling me the different things that was going on here. I said, I got to go see this, you know. I still don't believe it. I have to come. And what I will say is that one night Lisa was talking, and she was talking to somebody else, and all of a sudden she goes, Josephine, and she looks at me, and then she looks at my brother, and she looks at me. So, oh boy, here it goes. She must know that my mother's name is Josephine, and my mother was screaming in her ear, you know, you and your three brothers and this and that, and that's exactly the way my big mouth Italian mother was. She didn't take no crap. And she came through that night because my brothers were not talking. 3 out of the 4 of them weren't talking. And I was the only one pretty much trying to keep them together. And it took a long time, but believe it or not, they're together talking now. And, you know, it took a lot. It took a lot.
You're together talking?
Yeah, they're talking. They're all talking finally. But you know, what I get out
So where it begins, your mom's
what I
happy.
get out of this group is the camaraderie. A lot of people come in here desperate, and that's the way I feel when I see people come in. And I myself have sat here and cried about my feelings. And we could all do that with each other. We come in desperate, wanting to know about our siblings, our mothers, our fathers, our kids, tragic stuff. Lisa was doing a reading one night, and she kept saying about this accident, and she's looking at the lady over here, and she's looking at me, and she's like this and that. Well, come to find out, this, you know, I was a medic, and I was an operations manager at one point, and her grandson, I believe? Her son.
Gail's son, the one that's not here
Right.
tonight. Gail's not here.
Her son, I worked in Bridgeport, and what happened was one of our cars broke down, and being a supervisor, I came all the way to North Haven to trade out a car. And I happened to be going down the road, and this person was in this bad accident, and I was there. And Lisa knew this. And if
You didn't know.
I didn't know
the
this
woman that's
woman from-
missing, Gail's not here tonight. Her son passed in the car accident, and I
Right.
kept saying her son, and he has something in common with them.
Right.
You didn't know that.
No.
That this woman had.
Not at all. Not at
They
all.
were at the same. He was at the accident.
Right, he was a paramedic. I was in the field for 34 years, and, you know,
Yeah, he was
I
at the
came
accident.
across this accident, and I was there. And when they said what happened, I was like, I almost fell over in my chair, man. I was like, wow. But
It was
So
crazy.
you put 2 and 2 together.
The spirit
Yeah,
told me
Lisa,
that
the
he
spirit was telling-
that he was
she
involved
kept
or knew
looking
him.
at me and looking at her, and I'm like, how does this got anything to do with me?
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I truly didn't believe. And, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's
glad I
crazy.
come, you know. Now I have my wife coming because she's looking forward to having a reading.
Are you a believer now?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I met a lot of great friends here. And, you know, I could sit here and rub her shoulder, and she could rub my leg or whatever.
It's all working.
My wife doesn't get mad. But, you know, it's just, you know, we work together as a group.
Yeah.
And, you know, we help other people by talking to other people about our experience so they get it. You know, it's about, to me, it's about seeing somebody else get it. You know, I was so glad you got it tonight. I'm so glad because you were so not. Yeah, she's been wound up for a while. Yeah. So, and again, I thank Lisa and everybody in this room. Not only Lisa, but you brought us together, but I thank all of you for everything you've done for me personally, too. Thank you.
My name is Anna, and I'm pretty new to this group. Probably this is my 3rd, 4th time coming. I haven't had the chance to have a private reading, so looking forward. And I just can say it's a wonderful thing. I I start coming because my husband, he's like, you know, you gotta go see Lisa. She's amazing. You should hear the things she said about my mother that nobody knows. And there's no way in the world she will know. I said, wow. And I always believe there's another world out there. And I lost my mother about 19 years ago. The day she died, I was kind of so out of, and I can't put so many pieces together, and something is bothering me all the time. I don't know if I think she did tell me she drank poison, she killed herself for something we saw the day before. And I always, this was a dream, she did tell me that, and even though it's been so many years, and yeah, we learn to live our lives, but the pain is always there. And 12 years ago, I lost my brother. He was only 22 years, and he was healthy. My brother found him dead in his bed for no reason. We loved music. He always played guitar. He was dead and next to his guitar, and it was just, it's bad. That, like everybody said, sometimes we smile because we have to, but you always carry that pain. And a year ago, I lost my goddaughter, and right about around Christmas. So, like I said, I'm really looking forward to have a reading with Lisa. And I just start coming in here, and everybody is great. And like you said, really, you can cry, you laugh together. It's really good.
Hi, my name's Donna, John, and my husband and brothers. I lost my mother 2 years ago, and I've known Lisa through the same mutual band friends. I've known her, but we were never really close. And she had reached out to me after I lost my mother, saying she was starting this group and that she thought it would be something that could help me. And I don't know if she must have sensed that I was struggling. I came to the group. The first meeting, I think it was, my mother came through with Pete's mom. And there was two things that really stand out with me is I had a miscarriage that nobody knew. Lisa didn't know. And that night, I think it was your mother that came through and said that she was with the baby and it was a girl. And I started crying because I always felt in my heart that it was a girl that I miscarried. But Lisa didn't know that. She didn't know me that well to know that. And my mother also came through to say she was, okay, and she knew I was praying for something that wasn't going to happen. My mother died of pneumonia, multiple things actually. She was in the hospital for a good month. So that was just my first time. Yeah, I went to the church. I tried to go to the church, and the church was locked. So I kind of felt like there was all roadblocks. And my mother sensed that I was trying to go to pray for her, for God to save her, and that came through with Lisa. And I was like, and that was my first time coming to the group, and all that happened. The other thing that really stands out to me also is we all used to take a turn every month sharing about our loved one that passed, and it was my turn this particular month, and I had put on my mother's gold cross, and nobody knew. My husband wasn't home, my kids weren't home. I came to the meeting, and Lisa had said, I see kinks in the cross, and I was actually taking the kinks out of the cross to put it on that night. And she was, your mother was there when you were putting the cross on. So it was just very, very emotional that she's the real thing. She really is. So thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pete. I'm Donna's husband, John's brother,
Were you in the band too?
Friends of the band.
They're just mutual friends. But when I first started coming here, I came because Lisa invited us to come, and I came to support my wife. And I was a skeptic. I was kind of a skeptic. I always thought like there was some place where spirits went, and I never really understood it. But from coming here and talking to everyone and talking to Lisa, I understand a lot more. And just to elaborate on the story that my brother started telling you about, the night we were at the meeting and my mother came through, Lisa brought up a couple things. She said, your mother wants you to fix what was going on. I had a lot of anger when my parents died. My father died 2 years before my mother. And to me, my father was always my best friend. And it hit me hard. And then my mother died 2 years later. And I had a lot of anger. And there were things that happened, I'm not going to elaborate on them, that I was not very happy about. And I kind of broke away from pretty much everybody. After Lisa talked about my mother for a little bit, she was reading other people as well, and she was sitting there with her hand behind her like this, which I thought was really weird. So after a little while, we took a break, and I walked up to Lisa. I was like, Lisa, what are you doing? She goes, your mother's swearing at me. Which
That's your mother.
Oh, yeah, it was my mother, because my mother wanted to keep coming through. But Lisa was trying to be fair to everyone and was trying to hold my mother off.
Certain things you can't say. Unlike Elaine. No.
Say it like it is. If you had said it to me a different way, I would have been like, no, that's not my husband. He was an instruction guy. Okay.
But I want to thank Lisa for teaching me so much, and I want to thank Joe too, because we've kind of become a lot more than what goes on just here. We've become very good personal friends, and I want you to both know that we appreciate you guys. We really do.
We appreciate you too.
Now you made me cry. I was good up until that.
Can I just ask you before you get, so has it helped you? You mentioned, that you had anger, which is something that people deal with all the time when they lose someone. Has it helped you deal with that? Are you still as angry? Are you less angry?
A lot less angry. A lot less angry. Not perfect, but then again, who is?
I mean, you feel like it's helped you bring some type of resolution in some way. It's made things like your mom is still here, just in a different form.
Yeah. That's another thing. I don't mean to hog up the microphone, but one of the first things that Lisa taught me and everybody else when we first started coming here was about signs and how to recognize signs. And it blew me away because we had come to 2 meetings, and I work for Sleepy's, the mattress company. And one day I was working at the store in Branford, and I was like, Mom and Dad, you're not around. Yeah, I don't see no signs. I walked out the front door, and there was this little sparrow sitting there. And around retail shops, they block off so you don't park in front of your door, and it was just sitting there. And I went inside, and I came back out, and it's still there. Now I'm like, wait a minute. I took pictures and sent them to Lisa. I said, Lisa, is this one of the signs you've been trying to tell us about? And sure enough, it was. And then the 11 cents, I was sitting at my desk one day just thinking about my parents, and out of the blue, just opened the drawer, and there it was, a dime and a penny sitting in the drawer. Now, I sit at this desk all the time, and there it was. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Betsy. I lost my daughter Martine at age 26, 2.5 years ago. She struggled with addiction and she overdosed and left us. And right from the start, that day I got a sign from her. I didn't want to do anything. I was just waiting to go to the funeral home, and my brother-in-law said, you got to come outside. And I'm like, I don't got to do anything. I'm staying here. He said, no, you got to come outside. You got to come outside. And my husband and I walked outside, and there, right above our house, right above the driveway, was an upside-down rainbow, almost like with a cross in the middle of it. And right then and there, it gave me peace that she was stopped struggling. She was out of her struggles. She wrote a lot. I went to a reading with Lisa, and she said, go home and read what she had written. And I went home. She wrote so much, I still haven't gotten through with it. But like the first thing that fell out of one of the books, and she was just a little girl, and it was a piece of paper, and it was her little lips, kisses with lipstick all over it, and on the top of it she wrote, this is when you can't see me. I'm like, yeah. And there's a lot of things. She knew she was going to die young. She knew it, even, before she ever started with addiction. And this group helps me trust those signs. Sometimes you think, oh no, I'm just grabbing onto anything. I just want something, And the other thing Lisa said to me at the reading, she said, your father worked for the railroad. No, not my dad. She said, no, he worked for the, she said, you sure? She says, because I could see the railroad tracks. And then I see a train coming right through. I'm like, oh, well, he did get run over by a train. She's like, really? And she says, but he's not handicapped. I said, no, he just lost his foot. He was 15 years old, and he lost his foot. But our joke in our family was always, no, he's not handicapped. You would never know. He could outrun us. He could outswim us. He could hike every mountain with his artificial leg. He always had a sense of humor about it. So we always said, Papa's not handicapped. And, for him to be coming through and to know my daughter's with him. And the other grandfather, my husband's father, came through. And my brother that had passed had come through. And it draws that picture for you to know they're not alone. And they're okay. And the signs, they're still with us too. And that gives me peace. And coming here makes me, with all of you, believing that these signs are real, really validates it for me, and that's what helps me get up in the morning. And Lisa, bringing us all together, has brought us all such comfort. And when you're having a rough day, there's people to reach out to, and we're blessed. And thank you.
My name is Kathy, and I just have a couple comments to make. I think we all have come here really broken. And in our brokenness, I think we have found comfort, love, acceptance. The minute you walk through those doors, you could just look into somebody's eyes. They know who you are. They know your pain. They know what you've been through. And most importantly, they're here for you, and you know that. We see each other outside of this meeting now. It used to be just the once a month, but now we do so much together, and Lisa has brought us all together, and we truly are a family, and we are really thankful for her. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol, and 3.5 years ago I lost my husband to lymphoma. Between the time he was diagnosed and he passed was 2 months. It was quick. My sister talked me into coming to this group, and I want to say I was kind of like a recluse after my husband died. He was my better half, and once he died I wanted to go with him because I didn't want to be without him. But I had a young daughter, and I couldn't leave her. You know, I always prayed to God to keep me healthy and alive till she's self-sufficient. Coming here has helped me immensely. Like everybody says, we have made so many wonderful friends. There's nothing I can say about anybody that, I mean, we're all in it together. We're all going through the same. When we had our last Relay for Life, I've always wanted to do a reading with Lisa. And when she donated one of the prizes was a reading with her. So I took all the tickets I bought and put them all in that one bag. And I won. Now this was last summer. I didn't have my reading until last month. I wanted to do it, but yet I was kind of leery about it. I mean, I've been to a group reading with her, and my husband has come through like gangbusters. But yeah, I was still not skeptical, because I'm not skeptical at all. I was just, I don't know what it was. And then my daughter, who's 17, she says, "Ma, I want to go with you." And I said, "Are you sure?" She says, "Well, I'm scared." I said, "Well, it's nothing to be scared about. If anything, you're going to hear from your dad," which she did, and of course she was very emotional. But just that, it's such a gift that I think it brings peace to everybody. I mean, it will never take the pain away. You'll never be without the pain. But I know my husband is up there. He's not suffering. I know he's causing havoc with my father up there. But just having Lisa confirm things that you want, you gotta have. You know what I mean? You're striving to have that confirmation, and she's brought it to me, as I'm sure she has to everybody else, that I wish I had her gift. I really do. But we are blessed, and we love you, and thank you for everything.
I love sharing my gift with you, all of you. That's what makes me
Yeah, no. I was just thinking that when you asked if Lisa was the real deal, she's beyond the real deal to me. I came to Lisa because I had lost my mom's sister, who was a second mother to me, and 5 months later lost my dad. And about almost a year later, I had a reading with Lisa, and two things about her that I find especially amazing was that the specificity, is that a word, specificity? That she just zoomed that spirits can come in through her and get really specific about who they are, like so it's unmistakable who it is. And when my aunt came through, she kept pointing to my purse and saying, "Your aunt wants you to notice your purse. Your aunt wants to notice your purse." I had a different purse. The handles literally were moving.
Oh yeah, during the reading. That
During the
scared
reading.
me. I'm good.
She was like, I mean, I turned to look at that and I'm like, oh my God, they were moving. And what was important about that was that my aunt, when I was 19 a couple of years ago, my aunt lived in Manhattan, and we were walking in the most nicest part of Manhattan. I kept thinking, nothing bad can ever happen here. It's the nicest part of Manhattan. Well, this sketchy looking guy was walking this way, turned around and grabbed my aunt's purse. I wasn't wearing a purse, and she would not let go of that purse. She's a very feisty, very strong person, and the story I always tell about my aunt was how she would tug of war with this guy. She was not letting it go, and I'm screaming, and I'm trying to kick him in the nuts, and and the security guard came, and this guy was ruining this day because 3 construction workers, a couple of bodybuilders were right in the vicinity, and they came and they beat him to a pulp. But she was such a strong person. She just like literally was like dusting herself off and saying, I just want to go home. And we convinced her to go to the cops. But that's our story. And I even told that story at her funeral. So for my purse to be moving and the handles to be moving.
They were legitimately moving.
Yeah.
Like, no kidding. We were both looking. I go,
yeah.
She said something about the purse, but now the purse is moving.
Yeah,
We're both like.
The handles are.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and the second thing is that that spirit comes through not just to let you know that they're okay or they're with you, but also to give you guidance, or to give me guidance, I should say. And Lisa kept throwing numbers at me. It was coming through in numbers, like, does number 3 mean something, or the 3rd month, or February? And she kept saying February, and I'm like, nope, doesn't relate to anything. And then almost to the end of the reading, all of a sudden, she kept saying, your father, it was my father connected to me, and he came through and really wanted me to remember something about February. And then I think 3/4 of the way through the reading, I burst into tears and I said, oh my God, February 24th, my son, who struggles with depression and anxiety, very purposefully swallowed a bottle of pills and thank God survived. But that was February. And so my father wanted to come through. I don't even know how I even made it through the rest of the session, but I listened to it on tape again afterwards. But came through and was giving me all this guidance on how to be with my son and how to help him, and let me know that he was also watching over him. So those were the two real standout things for me, that I feel so blessed to have had a reading with Lisa. And I've only come to this group 3 times, but I feel very fortunate to be around people that have also believe that, have had that experience and validated for me, because my family pretty much thinks I'm nuts to think otherwise. And so that was what I wanted to share.
Last but not least, we got an hour, right? I was a believer before I saw Lisa. I had a couple of different medium sessions with some other people. I saw Lisa's ad in the paper. I had lost a very good friend, so I gave Lisa a call. She validated a lot for me during that reading. I saw her again in a group reading. It was at her little office there in Brantford. There were 7 of us. I was like the second one to walk in, and there were 7 bags on the chairs. And she said, I don't normally buy things for my groups. She said, but I was out shopping, and I couldn't leave the store without the bags. And inside the bags everybody got the identical gift. It was a little bear with little wings. And we were supposed to put them in the cars with us, and they were supposed to be like our guardian angels. And she's doing readings for everybody, and she kept looking at me going, I'm getting to you, I'm getting to you. And then she starts talking about when I was in the store, she said there was this bag that it was the only one, and I kept putting it back, and I couldn't leave the store without it. They made, somebody was making me buy it. And she pulls out this bag, and it's covered with dragonflies and ladybugs. And she looked at me and she said, it's for you, and you have a tattoo. And I have a ladybug tattoo. She said the bag is for you. The tattoo I got for my friend who passed away, who could not get one. She had always wanted a ladybug, so I got the ladybug tattoo. And Lisa had said that the number 12 was very significant. And inside the tattoo are 12 spots. So yeah, I got the 12 because the 12 was a joke with my friend. We had worked together, and every time, she had gone on vacation, and I bought 12 umbrellas for the business. And she had said to me when she came back, she said, are you out of your mind? We're going to have those forever. And I said, well, okay, well, now we have 12. But every time I'd go shopping, she'd go, did you buy 12 bags of candy? Did you buy 12 boxes of tissues? Did you buy? So 12 was significant. So for Lisa to know that.
This tattoo's not somewhere she could see.
No, I showed it to her after. And the thing about the bag was I had a very good friend who was going through breast cancer at the time of that reading. And dragonflies were very important to her. I was at her house one night, and she had a yard full of them. It must have been hundreds, and I had never seen anything like it before. And I left that reading believing that my friend Lucille was telling me that it was okay for me to take care of Tracy. Tracy was very sick, and after that, Tracy and I had a conversation because I know Tracy kept trying to protect me She knows I had gone through it before, I had been through it before, and I sat down with her and I said, look, I can do this. I can be here for you, I can help you, I can take care of you. And after that, I became one of her primary caregivers. The night of our first meeting here, I was in hospice with her. And she died a couple of days later, but I had another reading with Lisa probably 3 months after Tracy died. When Tracy was in hospice, we had been for a couple of months working on a tattoo design. And I got a tattoo of a phoenix 3 days before she died. I just got the outline of it. And I didn't tell anybody about it. My friend Kim and I went to have a reading with Lisa, and we walked in, it was just the two of us, and Lisa said, before I get started, I have to tell you about this bird. She said, this bird has been following me around the house all day. She said, I go from room to room.
And the bird would knock on the screen.
Right, and she's like, it was this amazing color blue. And I only had, the tattoo took 3 sessions, so that particular session I got that top portion of the bird. I have a phoenix on my shoulder. The phoenix is blue. A phoenix is normally red. Yeah. And I said to Lisa, what color was it? And she said blue, and she has, what was it, chakra calendar or the
chakra
on your wall. And she said, it's that color blue right there, and that was the color of the tattoo. Nobody had seen it before.
It was crazy that the bird kept knocking at all the bedroom windows. I'm like, I said to my daughter, did you hear that? She goes, yeah, you see that bird? It's hanging on its beak in the screen. It's falling over. I'm like it was every room. Yeah. So I was like, this is something for my reading today, because I'm not losing my mind.
And then one day during the summer, last summer, she had sent me a message, and she said, is everything okay with Tracy's family? And I said, I've kind of been out of touch with them. I plan on keeping a little better touch, but life happens, and so I kind of checked in with the family, and they said, yeah, everything's okay. It turns out Tracy's father was diagnosed with liver cancer right around the same time that Tracy had come through to her. But the first meeting I came to here, Lisa had a bucket, and we were each supposed to write something about guilt on that bucket.
To let it go.
To let it go. And I realized that I didn't have any. I left here that night actually feeling really good, because I had done everything for my friends that needed to be done. And Lisa made me feel really relieved that I didn't have any guilt. Everything, a lot of people do. A lot of people take that with them, and I didn't have any. And last summer, I thought I didn't need this group anymore. I had gone through 3 or 4 meetings, maybe 5 meetings, and then I missed 2. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm okay. I don't need it. And my cousin died very unexpectedly, and I realized I did need the group, and not because somebody had died, but because they were my friends. And so I look forward to it. I go out with Kathy occasionally. I catch people on Facebook, and we are a family. And it's good to be able to know that, people can say, hey, I'm sorry, or, I know how you feel, but you don't. Unless you've been through watching somebody die, unless you've been through those steps with them, you don't know. I mean, and it's different for somebody who has a child that they've lost, or a spouse, or a friend. It's different for everybody, but unless you've been through it, you don't get it. And I think everybody here does, and I think that's why we all get along so well.
Well, thank you so much, and I just want to again thank all of you for this. I mean, what the main reason we're doing this film is to bring the kind of comfort that you guys get from each other to other people. As many people as we can. When this happened, when I had this experience with my dad, where I was sure that he was here, I found myself wanting to run down the street and tell everybody, hey, it's okay, he's okay, things are going to be okay. And that's the whole point of doing this film. And I also want to say, it's what Lisa does is miraculous. Being able to connect to the other side, that's this miracle. But this is also a miracle. I mean, I can't tell you how I did not expect that. I'm so moved by seeing all of you be here for each other in this way. It's so powerful. I mean, as powerful as connecting to my dad on the other side, watching you all connecting with each other here on this side. It's beautiful. I mean, you see so much awfulness if you turn on the news, which I try not to do too often and don't recommend. But this is the real stuff, you know what I mean? This is most of the world is this, is people being here for each other like this and being able to see it in such a concentrated way like this is really cool for me. So thank you for letting us into your lives like this with such personal things. And we'll be following up with you.
Just before we end, we do have a closing circle. So if you, I don't know if one of the camera wants to get in, but we have somebody say our closing. We hold hands and do our closing thing.
I would just like to say one thing. I've known Lisa about 30 years. Before she realized she was a medium, and she was a fantastic person all the time I've known her. And as far as helping anybody, even before she became a medium, she would help you if she could.
I have no doubt about that. Yeah. I knew we were going to get you to talk about it.
Well, yeah, no. I say to them all the time, as much as I help them, they help me. So everybody knows some of my family situation. And so I probably lost like 30 members of my family. They're alive, but no connection to them. But they have replaced them, and they have made me strong. So, and by doing this for me, I don't think about it. Like, you know, some days, like, it was been a hectic weekend with both parents being sick, me, my kids, you know, and running to the store. But as I'm doing it, I don't think about it. Do you know what I mean? It's natural. It's like, these are my people, these are my family, and I got to get the, you know, the milk, the half and half. We got to get everything ready and get here. So they mean so much to me. They keep me going. You guys keep me going as much as I try to keep you going. So I love all of you. You're just like the best. And I thank you for doing this. Yeah, he is my main man. As I always say, he's the reason why I do what I do, because I didn't believe in myself, and he made me believe in myself. And I know we have a purpose together. We have great things to do, right? And I do notice a year and a half of everybody being in this group, and I know it's very difficult to speak or whatever. But there is, as much as every one of you has touched me, there's one person that I have to say how proud I am, because I've seen so many moms and dads lose kids, and being a mom, I don't even know what to say half the time. And I'm a persistent medium. So my connection after reading them doesn't end there. I will call them, I will check on them. It's just who I am. I don't know how I fit in I mean, I literally go down the list, but each one of you gets a weekly message from me. How you doing? How's this? You know, somebody gets a little bit of everything. But I had a woman.
Oh, and I thought I was special.
I had a woman who, when I saw her, broke my heart, and there was nothing I wouldn't do for her, but even maybe a phone call, a text message, or encouraging her. But I have to say, Donna, that you have come such a long way, and I am so proud of you, and you inspire me. So you inspire me. Me too. You make me want to do what I do. And I know, I mean, everybody has significant things, but you, there's just something about you that, yeah. Right from the beginning, yes. So you got me, because when I see you at these meetings and you show up and you're with Bill and I see that smile that you finally got on your face, it's like, you know, it's so worth it. This is so worth it to see everybody. And, you know, Elaine and just everybody, how the difference in the year and a half that everybody has made, but just certain ones just stick out. And you, my friend, are exceptional. You are exceptional, absolutely.
This all started when we were having coffee, and she said, "We're going to start a group." I go, "Singing?"
We might as well.
She goes, "No, we're going to have a grief group. They told me we're going to start a grief group." I go, "We who?" She goes, "Me and you." I go, "Oh, okay, whatever you want, babe. Anything for you. Happy wife, happy life." So we ended up starting a group, and we're like, what are we going to do? I don't know. What are we going to talk about? I don't know. But we're going to get people together, and we're going to try to make them happy. And it started from a few small people, and it grew to such a big family. And I see so many people here that I'm just blessed to be a part of your lives. And listen to all your troubles and sorrows and happy and everything that's coming along. And even you, when we first met you, oh my God, you were so bad. And we felt so bad for you. And to see you smile now, it makes me feel good to look at you when I felt so bad at the beginning because I shared your pain. We couldn't even talk, and it was so hard. We didn't want to hurt your feelings. I'm like so happy for you. And when we see you smile, and your sidekick, he supports you, kind of the way I support my baby. And we're all sidekicks. We're husband. We're the honey-do list guys.
Yeah.
But it's just so nice to see so many people that I consider my family, and just I love all you guys, and thanks for letting me be a part of your life.
Donna, yeah, obviously your story is so powerful, and being able to come back from where you've been, I mean, that's sort of the whole goal. Yeah. So to be able to hear your story, thank you so much for sharing all of that and for being here. And you're going to help people. This story, your story, is going to help other people who are where you were, and they're going to get to where you are now. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're lucky to be able to do this, because when you're on the outside, you want to talk. I want to talk about the baby all the time. People don't want to be around the sad people. They don't. They want to shut you up. Oh, move on. You need to move on. You can say it here. Betsy said her daughter died of an overdose. The baby's mother that passed away, Luciano, my daughter Samantha, is an addict. She's an addict. So I can say that here. She can say that here. You don't say this on the outside. The things we can say here to one another, people on the outside don't want to listen. So this is really incredible.
When somebody says, I know what you're feeling, they know what you're feeling.
Here,
here.
People say,
I think a lot of people who haven't been through the experiences that we have are just so afraid. Like Denise cried that she's afraid of death. So people don't want to hear about it.
They don't want to talk to you. And they think,
and this is a major outlet for a lot of people.
It's huge. It's huge. It's huge for me. I mean, people want to say the right thing. So they'll say, well, God has a plan. Really? What the hell was he thinking? Time, things will get... No. Who said? The pain doesn't go away. It doesn't. I see the baby's face every day, and it's 3.5 years. So this really is huge. It is. And I'm so grateful for all of you.
The pain doesn't go away. No. You learn to live with it every day. You learn to cope. From groups like this of unselfish people that want to help you. And thank God we all have each other.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I look forward to Lisa's Facebook page on a Monday night saying, see y'all tomorrow. Or Tuesday
See you in
night,
2 days. That's my friendly reminder.
It's made me wake up every morning to take away the guilt every day of how I feel. And getting here to see you guys makes it even better.
You still have a life purpose. We all want to know what our purpose is in life, like why are we here? And sometimes some of the people that were with us along the ride had to get off earlier, and it sucks. But you still have a ride to go, and you still got people to take care of. You still got your daughter. You still got your sister. You still got your husband. Yeah. If you told me 7 years ago that my life was going to be, I'm going to be in a support group, I'm going to be like, drinking too much. I'm in a support group with people that lost loved ones. I'm like, yeah, okay. So you don't know around what corner, what's going to happen next. You just got to hold on for the ride and just go along with it and just try to smile and make the best of it. And if you can't make the best of it, lie.
Hey, our journey's not over, but we're all in it together.
Yeah.
We're all in this ride together. So
my dad, when he passed away on the operating table, he said it's the most beautiful place in heaven. It's just an outstanding place to go to.
He said that?
Yeah, he did. And he said that's why he didn't want to come back, but his dad made him come back because he wasn't finished.
Oh, you mean he like had like a near-death experience? He
Yeah.
went somewhere and then came
Yeah,
back?
yeah. And they lived for 14 days after that. Yeah, so he said that life here is our hell. Over on the other side is our heaven. It's the most beautiful place ever. He said, but there's things on this earth that people have to finish. So.
Absolutely.
That's what everybody says, though. Near death. You know, they all have the same story.
If you can join our circle if you'd like. Just
My hands are freezing, I'm sorry.
Come on.
You can join our circle.
Yeah, everybody, come on.
So as we all join hands, first, of course, I'd like to thank Lisa and Joe for bringing us all together and for all the help and support you give us. It's monumental, and I thank you. So let's just join hands and inhale this wonderful white healing light. And just envision this beautiful white light coming down from above, entering through the crown of our heads, and coming into our hearts, and joining our hearts with our loved ones and those who have passed. And take a nice deep breath and inhale this light, and as you exhale everything that doesn't serve your highest good. And then I just want to briefly say a few words. Please take the soul and spirit of our dear, beloved, departed loved ones into the sweetest corner of your mind, the most tender place in your heart, dear God, that they may be comforted. For now that they have gone, I pray, dear God, for the strength to remember that they have not truly gone far, but remain beside us. There is no power greater than you. Death is not your master, nor mine. These things I believe and ask that our hearts be healed. This I ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen.
think it was maybe the second time, and we